Hey guys, tonight we have a new moon in Cancer, and this promises, well, historically so far, this year, this is one of the biggest new moons of the year so far, because we have just had an election and the tides have shifted, so to speak. In Northern Ireland here, the DUP party have lost 2 seats, and Sinn Féin are now the largest party in Westminster. And the fact that Sinn Féin don't take their seats in Westminster kind of leaves the whole state, the country, in a bit of a predicament. So we are on the verge of something new, new horizons. So let's look at what the themes of Cancer are in this new moon and how it's going to affect the future. So 5th of July, that's today, 23:57. So it's just a couple of minutes before midnight into the new day. So 3 minutes before midnight, we will have the new moon at 14 degrees of Cancer. So what does Cancer actually mean? What is this, the sign of the zodiac? What does it actually mean? It's a water sign. So it it refers to the emotions, the emotional center, the emotional core of you. Water is deep and it's inner. It responds to it relates to the inner realm, the emotional self. It's a cardinal sign, so it's one of the strongest signs of the zodiac. And because the sun is actually at its peak in the northern hemisphere, it could be argued that it's actually the strongest sign of the whole zodiac because water is extremely powerful. So it's about pushing ahead and getting things done. Okay, so that's what the cardinal energy is. It's pushing forward. So it represents the emotional self, the inner self, and also the subconscious. So there's always, whatever you're doing, whatever you're involved in at the current moment, there's always a subconscious level going on underneath. So Cancer can be related to that because it's ruled by the moon. Now, it also relates to the home and the family. And whenever I say home and family, I don't mean your immediate home and family. This can also be extended to the homeland. And this is what we are currently seeing. We're currently seeing new changes coming through to the homeland. So you can also think of it in terms of home and family. What new changes can you make going forward there? In terms of caring and looking after people and being protective of loved ones in the family as well. So you might come up with new ideas, new things going forward, new ways to proceed. So Cancer can also be very, very sensitive and also be very kind because it looks after things. So there's a certain amount of sensitivity as well to do with the emotional level. And with Cancers, it's the first water sign. So it's the first sign which introduces humanity to an emotional realm, something that's going on under the surface, which really drives us. And you really drive yourself forward with how comfortable you feel in situations. And Cancer that's why it's such an important sign because you really need to get a handle, really need to understand what this emotional drive is all about. And sometimes you can become overwhelmed with emotions. So it's good to understand what's actually driving that, where it comes from, and how you can better handle your own personal emotional setup. Yeah, Cancer is all about comforts, trusting your senses. Are your senses being truthful and honest? Or maybe there's something else going on. Maybe you're not trusting something properly because you don't have the full picture of things. And then your senses may be, maybe not have the full logical information. But it does tend to associate itself with comforts, trusts its senses, so it doesn't move forward with things unless it trusts what's actually going on. And it likes familiarity as well, familiarity with things it knows and trusts. So the Cancer also represents the mother. It's a sign of the mother, the cook, the protector, the person who looks out for us. So we could look at that in terms of Mother Earth and nature as well. So it's the things that are provided to us, or the person who provides these things for us. So it's ruled by the moon. So this new moon is in its own sign. So it has powerful strength in its own sign. It works very efficiently. So this could be about creating a new emotional sensitivity, awareness of emotional sensitivity going forward. Okay. Now, some of the things you need to be careful of with Cancer as well, if there's any Cancerians out there can be a tendency to be overprotective and to be quite shy, because if you think of the sign of Cancer represented by the crab, we have the crab here in the middle of the zodiac wheel here representing the sign of Cancer. So we can, if we refer to the crab as soft and squishy and lovely and melting and soft on the inside and really sensitive, and it's surrounded itself by a really tough, hard shell. So, and that's what Cancerians do. They protect themselves with the really hard shell, because they don't like to be poked or prodded or pulled out of their comfort zone. So when a Cancerian type of person wants to move forward in life, they have to become really comfortable within their own shell and be prepared to break through the shell, so to speak. So they can also be reclusive, because they may find themselves uncomfortable in situations. So they decide, no, I'm not going out tonight. I don't feel right, or I don't feel right in this situation. I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to take myself out of this room. These are the kinds of things that this Cancerian energy, it's things that you need to get yourself comfortable with. So needs to test new things as well. Cancer needs to test new things to find if it's comfortable in different situations. So in the chart for Belfast, the new moon falls in the 5th house. And the 5th house, so with all this election stuff going on here, the 5th house is the house of children. So we can see this, we can suggest this is like a new child being born in the kind of a new protector, so to speak. So the 5th house, yeah, it's about new things, new enterprises, creativity. So with the way the political landscape here is shifting, we now have a chance to recreate, possibly something new. But we'll see how that actually plays out in terms of finances and things like that going forward. But the moon, yeah, it's in its own sign, so it's very efficient in its own sign. It's in a conjunction with the planet Venus here. Venus represents relationships, love, beauty, harmony, values, and finance. So when you think of values, you're thinking of your own personal values, how you value yourself, and then how you value other people in your life, other people you relate to. So relationship energy it's really taking a powerful influence over this new moon. So it's about building new relationships going forward. Now, we also see the new moon here in square aspect to the nodal axis. And the nodal axis can be described in some ways, in lots of different ways, but the way I like to look at it is what you're being challenged to break away from, to head towards. So if we look at the moon in square to the nodal axis here, the south node, it would be like our comfort zone, what we are familiar with, ruled by Venus. So both the nodes are actually challenging. So one is challenging you, the south node, to break out of your comfort zone, and the north node is challenging you to try something new. So this could be about leaving the past behind, because Cancer represents the past and all the emotional traits and little personality tweaks, that we have created over time. So this could be about leaving this behind and trying something new, because the North Node is ruled by Mars in Uranus. So Libra as well, the opposite side, is like the people pleaser kind of sign. So it's time to stop pleasing people so much and move on into our own individual path, which is represented here by Aries. And with the ruler of Aries, Mars, in conjunction with Uranus, this is about breaking through to something new. Okay. So the new moon energy is also applying trine aspect to Saturn in Pisces. Pisces raises collective concerns about institutions. Saturn is the planet that represents restriction and rules and boundaries and limitations. So we're having opportunity here to revisit plans and rethink strategies. That's what you do with Saturn. It allows you to plan going forward. And in Pisces, some of those things, establishments, are being broken down. So it's about rethinking the things that aren't working out as well as they should. Problem areas, it's time to revisit those and rethink strategies going forward. So yeah, that's what Saturn is. It's time to tighten up, create new rules perhaps, form a strategy, and understand as well that certain things will be restricted while all this goes on. And it's also an opportune time to deal with addictions. And addictions come in many levels. It can be alcohol addiction, drug addiction, smoking, sex addictions, food addictions, and people even being addicted to mobile phones. And there's so many types of addictions, even addictions to exercise. So with Saturn in Pisces, it's an opportune time to get dealing with those addictions. Elections as well. We've already covered quite a bit of what's been going on with the elections, but this is like new governments. The Labour have won a landslide victory. So this is about new establishments, new rules going forward. Now, in the actual chart of Northern Ireland, the new moon falls up here on the cusp of the 8th house. So that suggests huge transformation is about to take place in terms of debt and finance, investment, and secret meetings, perhaps. This could be in terms of what's going on with all these discussions in terms of Ireland's future. So where are we going to get our money? Are we going to get more money from the UK? Are we going to get it from the Republic of Ireland? What will transform in our economy in Northern Ireland? Where will the money come from? Will we have to transform how we do things? Well, we'll need to raise or come up with new methods to raise finance. So it could be increasing rates, taking away bus passes, maybe charging people for prescriptions. There's lots of different things that can be done, but it's up to the governments to see or decide and discuss what's going to take effect there. But the Ireland's future stuff that's going on is huge in terms of this, in terms of moving forward here. We also, in Northern Ireland as well, we are also having a Saturn opposition. So this is putting pressure to restructure new authorities, new government. And it's all about the collective issues, oneness and inclusion as well. Inclusion is the big thing now, where all the governments and world governments, in fact, are pushing for inclusion, to include everyone in everyone's society. So we also have in the chart for Northern Ireland, we also have the Mars-Uranus conjunction here in the 6th house to Mars. And there's a Mars return coming up for Northern Ireland as well. So this is all about new direction, restructuring, new authorities, new government perhaps, but it also places emphasis on public services, which health service and workers in general, anyone who provides a public service. So there's a real drive on here to reinvent things, to establish something new going forward. Now, when we look at Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, markets in general can be very volatile around new moons and full moons. And this one is no exception. There's supposedly being huge sell-offs from some German bank are selling off lots and lots of Bitcoin, and the price is tanking at the minute, going down, so to speak. And we can suggest that is coming from the Saturn transit, Saturn currently in retrograde, right on top of the Uranus placement in Bitcoin. Uranus is very important planet for Bitcoin because it represents everything that Bitcoin is doing. It's taking us to a new level of finance in the future. Saturn is bringing down the price, selling off lots of stuff. So opportunities for buying are there, not just with Bitcoin, but with all crypto at the minute. Bitcoin, use Bitcoin as a reference because it's the number one, it's the mother of all cryptos. So we use that as a reference to kind of judge or see what's going on in the whole crypto market, so to speak. But this energy here from Saturn also refers to the volatility in the market and rules and regulations that are being applied to crypto. Also, it's about assisting stability as well, because all these ETFs are coming in, which makes crypto more accessible to people who wouldn't have been into crypto before, like traditional investors. So banks and things like that, they're buying in so that you can invest in Bitcoin through the bank. So this is setting new foundations in the world of finance. And it also speaks about the upcoming CBDCs as well, which is the government's digital currency, which is not a cryptocurrency, it's a government-run digital currency, and everyone will have access to. But there's lots and lots. That can be a whole new presentation just on CBDCs as well. But crypto is completely separate from all of that. It's because it's decentralized and it gives you independent freedom over your own personal finance. So while the prices of Bitcoin is low, it's a very opportune time to buy more or buy some cryptos. So other considerations, other things to look at in personal terms, where does this new moon fall in your personal horoscope? Are there any aspects to personal planets or any angles in your own personal chart? Or any particular themes you have? Does it activate a T-square or a grand trine or even a square or a conjunction? This is going to be activated with all these Cancerian energies. Because it's cardinal, it's moving forward. So I'm Greg, I'm Star Drifter Astrology. You can find me on Facebook or here on YouTube. If you fancy a personal analysis or interpretation of your own chart, please feel free to contact me. Or if you simply just want to buy me a coffee to show appreciation for this information, you can click on the link. And I would appreciate it if you please like and subscribe to the channel. So I hope everyone has a very new and pleasant new moon. So thank you.